All right, if we can get everything straight here. All right, good evening, folks. You can see on the monitor already what we're going to be talking about. Hunter Biden versus President Trump. Why the hell would we compare these two individuals? And for you folks who normally tune in, I was away for a few days, happy to be back with you. Why are we comparing someone like President Trump, an esteemed president of a nation, to Biden? Hunter Biden, rather. He's merely the president's son, has never been in a position of power. So why are we comparing Hunter Biden to someone like President Trump? Well, fact is, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, good evening, what does that say? Can't pronounce the name, but appreciate that. Good evening. What is the similarities between someone like President Trump and Hunter Biden? Well, the obvious notion is that both sides are accusing the other of being exceptionally corrupt. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because a lot of folks that are involved in politics tend to believe one is extremely corrupt and the other one is an innocent victim. Now, I will make it clear. The vast majority of Republicans believe that what's going on with President Trump is a witch hunt, and there is no reason why he should be being pursued for anything. The liberals, in regards to Hunter Biden, the defense is nowhere near as strong. There's nowhere near as much support from liberals for Hunter Biden as there are for old Idaho dad. Fair enough. Good evening. And good evening to the rest of you guys filtering in. The box will be open because I want to hear how you guys feel on this. Two things. First of all, the liberals do not support Hunter Biden anywhere near to the significance that the Republicans support Trump. However, both sides, the liberals believe that Trump is incredibly corrupt, and the right believes that Hunter Biden is incredibly corrupt. So that's what we're discussing. Now, let's be clear, none of us have access to neither Trump nor Hunter Biden. So whatever opinion you're forming it based on third-party information. You're watching news, you're watching media, and that's allowing you to form an opinion on whether Trump is innocent and Hunter Biden is guilty, or vice versa. So let's be clear about that. If you don't believe anything in the news, then how are you assuming either one of these people are guilty of anything? So I'm going to look at the comments real quick. If he did illegal, shady shit, he should be prosecuted. Grass-fed. Which one of these gentlemen are you talking about? Hunter Biden or President Trump? But Hunter has no position or power, does he? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean he cannot be corrupt. That doesn't mean that if Hunter Biden is corrupt and he is the son of the president, that could be a stepping stone towards holding the president for blackmail. Let's say, for instance, he did something corrupt with Ukraine or Russia, and now the Russian authorities notify President Biden, if you don't do this or this for us, we're going to out your son and send your son to prison. Now, obviously, Biden could pardon him, but it would be a huge embarrassment on his administration. So, regardless of the fact that Hunter Biden does not officially have power, technically he does, because he could easily act as a liaison to his dad. If my dad is a president, you're going to do a hell of a lot to work with somebody who has those credentials. So don't rule Hunter Biden out that easy. Let's go with Lars Sear. I haven't talked to Greenland in a while. Okay, if Hunter is corrupt, the daddy Joe is. Yeah, and that's the point we're trying to make. Good evening.
Hi.
How are you? Are you
fine.
aware of any of this that's going on over here?
I haven't been following latest news in America. I've been working traveling for the weekend.
Okay. Well, this is in regards to, we're looking at the notion that President Biden, or President Trump rather, there's a lot of folks obviously in this country that considers President Trump, particularly with January 6th and even the two prior impeachments before that, to be a corrupt individual. And then, of course, Hunter Biden, in his ties with Ukraine and a lot of Eastern European issues, believe the same thing. So we're here comparing those two. Have you heard anything about either?
Yeah, well, I've been following the news. I mean, Scandinavian news on that. and it's from Scandinavian and international news. For Hunter Biden, seems like a lot of it is made up.
Okay.
Uh,
And you're saying a lot of it is made up in regards to which individual, Hunter Biden or President Trump?
Hunter Biden, and
Oh.
in the Scandinavian news, it's like Trump is known to be corrupt, and it's just like that. It's been known to he has been corrupt and should and sounds like it still is.
Okay, so the news coming out of Europe, where you're at, you're suggesting that at least from the Scandinavian standpoint, they actually believe Hunter Biden is being given a raw deal, and a lot of the accusations against him are false or being made up or fabricated.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, now, and what about President Trump? What is the belief about President Trump over there?
yeah. Uh, Trump has been known to be corrupt all uh, in Scandinavian news and has been, but not been proven. So everybody suspects in Scandinavia uh, Trump has been corrupt all along since he got the money from his father.
Now, when you say Scandinavia, this is not CNN or any American source. This is news out of Scandinavia.
Yeah,
I kind of wonder where they're getting their information from for them to form an opinion on the president.
yeah. It's different news sources in Scandinavia, but mainly we get in Greenland. It's Danish news, DR1, and a news called Extra Bladet, and sort of a lot of stuff from Scandinavia we get also.
Okay. The reason I'm asking you that is because a lot of folks, a lot of my audience is MAGA. I make no qualms about that. This is a MAGA friendly audience, and the first thing a lot of them are suggesting is, well, because they're hearing you and they're suggesting that you're probably getting this from CNN or some left leaning news source, which is why I wanted to confirm that you're getting this from a foreign news source, period, from a different nation. It's
Yeah,
not American based news, is what you're saying.
yeah, exactly. And in Scandinavian and in our country, the news are not allowed to lie. News, if they lie, they can go to prison or get a lot of penalties for it and cannot be a reporter anymore. So if a reporter has to tell the truth, most probably be truth.
Wow. So in Scandinavia, they can actually be criminally punished for being dishonest on air.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yes.
Because we definitely need that because we have a total opposite of that. Wow, that's great. What about where you're at in Greenland? I mean, obviously you guys get some form of news. Is that where you're primarily getting your news from in Scandinavia, or do you have your own news networks there?
We have our news network. It's small. We are a small country, but we do the news here. It has like 15 minutes local news. Then we got like 10, 15 minutes uh, news from all other worlds every day. Then outside of that, then we got uh, Danish news a whole hour if we want
Now,
to watch it.
okay, now in regards to Greenland, and you mentioned the Danish news, how do they feel? I'm going to assume they don't have a lot of opinion about Hunter Biden, but if they do, let me know. But how do those countries, the Danes and you guys in Greenland, how does your nation, how do they view President Trump? And if you would, I'd also be curious how they view President Biden.
Biden, we do respect. He brought respect back to America. And Trump was a laughing stock a million times funnier than uh, what was his name? Uh,
Obama,
No, before Obama.
George
I forgot
W.
it.
Bush.
Bush. Yeah, Bush was funny, but Trump was on whole another level all the time lying, non-stop lying, never truth.
Okay, all right. And that's what I would wonder because you said that they found Biden to be more respectful. In this country, it's questionable whether we find Biden more respectful or not, because Biden has a lot of drawbacks here too. But from an international standpoint, yeah, when I heard you say that you guys found Biden to be more respectful, a little bit of a shocker. Like I said, it's a little different here because Biden, his poll numbers over here in America, even in his own party, is not very strong. So I guess I would assume that as opposed to championing Biden, they just dislike Trump to that degree.
Trump was whole another ruthless thug in international politics. Didn't care anybody but America. So Biden brought back respect for America and respect for the American leadership, but Trump took that away.
Wow. And I want to say something real quick in the comments. Just Me 69 said it's funny because everyone loved Trump before he was president. That is true. However, that would be you can use that statement for everyone, probably except Hillary Clinton. Most of these guys, you know, John McCain was a war hero. Most of these folks were loved. Obama, there was nobody was suggesting that Obama was born in Africa before he became president. So the idea that Trump was loved before he became president, and then they started demonizing him after he got in office, could easily be applied to virtually every president we had. So, and probably a little stronger with Trump, mainly because he was pushing back and fighting back so hard. So when you start swinging back, you draw more punches in. But all presidents are liked before they become president. That's the only way you're going to win, if people like you. So, but listen, Greenland, I do got to move it on. I'm doing an abbreviated one tonight. I do got to move it on. So I appreciate you coming through, man.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right. Oh, absolutely. You take care. So I'm comparing these two, Hunter Biden versus President Trump. Like I said, the box is open. I'm curious as to what you guys think. And I'm saying this because the vast majority of right-wingers believe President Trump is going through a witch hunt. He's not guilty of anything. And Hunter Biden is the one that needs to be placed in handcuffs. And the sentiment from the left is exactly the opposite. Whereas they believe President Trump is a criminal, needs to be put behind bars. And I don't think the left has a big opinion on Hunter Biden. You've heard yours truly, your humble correspondent. I tend to believe where there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm not defending Hunter Biden. I do believe he used his father's influence to get involved in nefarious activities. However, here is also probably the reason why liberals are not running to defend Hunter Biden like Republicans or Trump folks, MAGA, are running to defend President Trump. MAGA wants Trump back in office in 2024. The liberals do not care if Biden leaves today. If Biden leaves today, we get Kamala Harris. And I don't think there's a lot of liberals who believe that Kamala Harris would really be a serious downgrade from President Biden. So you're not going to get a lot of folks running from the left to defend President Biden because the left is not very favorable of President Biden. Looking at some of the comments here. Why care what his son does, says Anarchy Andy. Well, you're always going to care what the president's son does because you can blackmail the president with that. If the son gets involved in some corruption, the president wanting to keep his son out of prison could be blackmailed. If he's working on corrupt deals with the Ukraine or corrupt deals with Russia, they know our laws. They know what's corrupt over here. They can easily write the father and tell them we got the goods on your son. We can easily, send this information to the Washington Post, the New York Times, or you could do this for us or do that. So you don't want the son to be compromised because it could potentially trickle up to the father. So that is why you care what the son does. They're all actors. I don't get that one, Plato. Looking at the comments again, do y'all really want Harris, says Randy Childers. You know, with Biden, the output has been looking so bad that I do believe a lot of Americans on the left would be willing to roll the dice and try Kamala Harris. I do believe that if she was to be put in office, particularly now with Roe versus Wade being rolled back and her galvanizing the female vote. Yeah, she probably would be stronger at that right now than President Biden because she can stand on a stump, even though she has that cackle and all of that you guys like to talk about. She could stand on the stump and probably deliver more energizing speeches than President Biden because she doesn't stumble on words and things like that. She doesn't need a teleprompter or a cue card. So, yeah, I don't think that there would be that much of a depression, for lack of a better word, from liberals if Kamala Harris ended up taking the office. Looking at the comments here, you saying they are actors? Look them up in the independent movie. I don't know who you're talking about that are actors. Trump can't hold a glass of water, so I don't know why y'all so pressed. Yeah, Kaylin, I do remember the video footage of Trump using two hands, one to push the bottle of water up. And I do remember how much that was talked about on TV. Intelligent and well-spoken, says Coastal 247. Yeah, Kamala Harris is very well-spoken and very intelligent. I understand if you're on the right, that's the last person you want in office. But keep in mind, for those who talked about how much President Trump was loved before he became president, Hillary Clinton's reputation was not that bad until she ran for president as well. She certainly was not known for drinking the fluids of infants. And that all of a sudden came out when she started running for president. So for anyone who goes, well, Trump was loved by black people and all of that, how the hell did he become a racist when he became president? Well, the other side was suggesting that Hillary Clinton was drinking infant fluids, for lack of a better term. So let's not pretend like this is only coming from one side. And there was a lot of QAnon folks suggested that Hillary Clinton was doing that. And I believe most of the Democratic Party was being accused of abusing children. Even down into and including liberal actors. They had Tom Hanks and Oprah Winfrey and Will Smith and all of them in there. So if you want to point out how unfair it looked in regards to how the left treated Trump, this was coming from the right. They were pointing out every single liberal they could come up with and suggesting that those folks were abusing children. So it happens on both sides. If you run for president, let's take somebody who you would consider that's well-liked by both sides. I guarantee you there will be negative things coming in. Hell, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is, for the most part, considered beloved on both sides of the aisle. Hulk Hogan, even if they ran, things would come out. I think Hogan even used the N-word. Hillary answered every question and never took the fifth. Go hard. I don't know if that's true. I do recall Trump suggesting that in regards to Hillary Clinton, if you take the fifth, it means something. It means you got something to hide. I believe Trump was pointing out that Hillary Clinton may have taken the fifth. Now, obviously, with Trump and his multiple impeachments and now January 6th, his side has had no problem taking the fifth as well. And now all of a sudden, Trump is quite silent on what it means if you take the fifth. But he did suggest in regards to Hillary Clinton, if you take the fifth, that means you have something to hide. Now that his people are doing it, I mean, Steve Bannon didn't even show up for the subpoena at all. He suddenly changed his tune on that. I don't know. Andrew Yang says, Dire Wolf. I would be interested in looking into Andrew Yang a bit further. He was brilliant on math, not politics, math. And like they always say, the numbers don't lie. I would certainly entertain seeing what Andrew Yang had to offer. He ran for mayor out in New York and lost that as well. But I like some of the things he was saying. Dude says user 226. What is this? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Dude, follow up your statement. The box is open. Dudes, by the way, the box is open. What about President Trump? This is the question I have for you guys. Certainly my MAGA folks on the right. Why do you believe Hunter Biden is a criminal and President Trump is damn near an angel? That's what I want to know. Come on in the box. Let me know why you believe Trump, total witch hunt, has done nothing wrong, and President, or better yet, Hunter Biden, has done everything wrong. I'm trying to figure out where the mindset is on that. That's where I'm kind of confused. Your humble correspondent, yours truly, I tend to believe where there's smoke, there is fire on both of these gentlemen. I don't think either one of them is innocent of everything they're being accused of. And I'm talking criminally, both President Trump and Hunter Biden. However, I understand my audience, and this, make no mistake about it, I say it all day, every day. This is a MAGA-friendly audience. I don't ban or block anybody's damn statements. Get to speak your mind, say whatever the hell you want, and it's not blocked here. But I do want to know, what is it about these two gentlemen that makes you think one is a good guy and the other is corrupt? Okay, looking at the comments here. So many leaders have been stepping down all over something that's coming. Trump will be back. Bank on it. Well, here's what I don't get about President Trump if he does return. And I know a lot of folks like yourself believe he's going to return. I think if it's one thing we have established in regards to President Trump through my many back and forth with a lot of MAGA, my beloved MAGA audience, is that Trump is horrible in regards to picking or making appointments. Folks on his administration, folks he campaigned for. And I've had some of the strongest Trump supporters come out and admit that right here. So my question is, if he comes back and he continues making piss poor appointments, how much difficulty might he have in making America great? Remember, this is the guy who appointed Jim Barr. He appointed most of the folks that are up there testifying against him now. Now, I understand my MAGA audience believes they're all traitors and treasonous or whatever, but make no mistake about it, they don't have their jobs without Trump. Now he's helping people like Dr. Oz get a job. And I understand MAGA is not a big fan of Dr. Oz. He's not good at appointing the people he needs to implement his legislation. So even if he does come back and he continues doing what he's known for, which is appointing, and when I say what he's known for, I'm not talking liberals, not talking Democrats, I'm not talking never Trumpers. I'm talking what he's known for with MAGA, appointing horrible administrative personnel. Because that is what you guys are calling all of these people. You're calling them rhinos, traitors, treasonous. They all got their jobs from Trump. And like I said, most of you guys don't like Dr. Oz either. He's appointing these people. So if he comes back in office in 2024 and he continues doing that, and there's no reason to believe he won't because Dr. Oz is in that mix. And that's a very recent campaign. How likely is he to be successful? I just want to ask you that. We love Candace Owens. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. But you can let me know why. Pretty interesting. Let me see here. He won't get reelected. It will be DeSantis. The problem with that is if Trump runs and DeSantis runs, DeSantis might be so damaged fighting with Trump that he may not have a lot left come the main election. Because Trump will damage him in every way possible, even though a lot of Republicans favor DeSantis because you get all the great legislation of Trump without all the chaos, which I always refer to as taste great, less filling. Trump is going to accuse him of everything. He may say his mama killed President Kennedy by the time we're done with it. We don't know. So how much damage is DeSantis going to take from President Trump? You notice that Jeb Bush, who was a huge fan favorite from conservatives, no longer even has a career because he went on the wrong side of Trump. You don't think that could happen to DeSantis at all? Let me ask you guys this, and you tell me DeSantis or Trump. If DeSantis and Trump get into a sparring match, debates, start, attacking each other, DeSantis or Trump, who do you think would win among conservatives, among GOPers? DeSantis or Trump? Type that in the comments. If those two start fighting back and forth, a la Trump and Ted Cruz, a la Trump and Marco Rubio, a la Trump and Ryan, or Trump and et cetera, who do you think would win? If Trump gets into a sparring match with DeSantis, do you think DeSantis has enough weapons in his arsenal to get the report? Now, we're not talking liberals here, so for all you guys who dislike liberals, you're supposed to dislike liberals. We're not talking about liberals. DeSantis and Trump, who do you think would get the lead vote if they both got into it? And somebody said they both win-win situation. That's not how this works, Kevin Roberts. They're fighting for the same job. There's no way they could possibly both win. That makes no sense. Let's go over to Vass. Yeah, that's impossible. Everyone is saying Trump is under take debate. Things on the real quick. Hang on, Vass. Real quick for you suggesting Bonnie Menke said Trump or DeSantis won't take debate. It would be like, remember back in high school how you guys might signify, we used to call it signify, you make jokes, your mama jokes and things like that.
Yep.
If you're standing there and somebody's insulting you and you're not taking a bait, you're losing. They're just cracking jokes on you all day long. Good evening, Vass.
Well, what up, man? Yeah, something like that. But I think it'd be good. That you feel so. You saying that if DeSantis he goes up there and runs for president, that Trump's gonna come at him and he's gonna have all this, I guess, dirt on him. And
no, what I'm here. Okay, let me clarify. If DeSantis runs for president while Trump is still in the running, now if DeSantis gets Trump's endorsement, it's game over for the liberals, in my opinion. If DeSantis gets Trump's endorsement and runs with Trump campaigning for him, that's a real good ticket for the Republicans. But if Trump runs and DeSantis senses that Trump will be chaotic or Trump might lose, and he decides to primary Trump and run also with Trump, which means those two now are competing against each other.
Right.
Trump will start throwing everything at him but the kitchen sink. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I get it. But what has I don't know nothing about that man to think I don't know if that's what I'm saying. As far I don't see why that would be a problem, but I know what you're saying as far as how Trump works, and he'll he just says anything and he'll just start throwing stuff at him. But
listen, when you're trying to be presidential, you're trying to be professional, and you're on stage and a dude says your mama's ugly. What the hell do you say to that? I mean, he'll throw anything out there.
Like your mama's ugly. You know what I'm saying? Your mama's ugly. Well, your mama's ugly. What the hell? If you looked at the mirror,
but is DeSantis that kind of guy that would go in the mud that deep with Trump?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Is he that guy? I don't know. I really don't know a lot about him, and that's what I was thinking. Like, well, if you're talking about dirt, I haven't really heard anything about that man. That Trump could just pull out the rabbit's hat and be like, "Oh, you helped on this bill and you did this," and
but you're thinking from a logical, reasonable political standpoint where you criticize your opponent based on things they've been involved in, unpopular legislation. But Trump is not that kind of guy. Trump, when he was going against Ted Cruz, he tweeted out a picture of Ted Cruz's wife next to Melania Trump and asked, which one would you choose? That ain't got shit to do with anything political. So, what can you do with it? Right.
Yeah, just I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you see what matters, I guess. If on that side, if that's what matters, then that tells the story right there. You see what I'm saying? If you feel like, his wife looks better, I gotta vote for him.
Well, let me just be clear. A lot of folks like that. That helped him win by a significant margin. The Pocahontas, the crazy Bernie.
Yeah,
he won by a lot with that stuff.
Yeah, I know, and if like I said, that goes to show what type of people that you are dealing with.
Yeah, they are voters.
If that's what it takes, and if I can do that and get you to sign over to me, if that's what it takes, well then hey, I guess we know where we stand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but would you be willing as a politician? Now remember, Trump was new. DeSantis has been around for a minute now. Would you be willing as a politician to tarnish your image just to win by going into the your mama jokes? And I mean, and when I say your mama jokes, I'm not just being sarcastic. Trump has done some pretty off-culture things like that. I mean, would you? Because he also accused Ted Cruz's dad of being involved in the Kennedy assassination. So he'll throw.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's
How do
what
you
I'm
compete with
saying.
it?
Like that's you just gotta be logic. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be logical. You gotta know what you talking about. You can't get up there and be a clown yourself. The only way to be the clown is to be a man. You know, a clown can never be the man. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, if you do, then you see what I'm saying? You a clown.
Yeah.
How you? I'm a man. How you gonna? How me and you even got something to talk about?
But when you're sitting there, it's just like I mentioned, I was telling the caller about it, making your mama jokes in school. If you're a student in school and your rival is throwing your mama jokes at you, and you're like, well, I'm going to be a man, I'm more mature than that, you're
Yeah.
losing. They're laughing at those jokes against you, and you're giving nothing back in return, but I'm going to be a mature man. You're losing because Trump supporters, MAGA, overwhelmingly favors the name calling. I get folks all the time. I would
Yeah, I
prefer a
know.
dollar gas and mean tweets. They like that. So
Yeah, I
you're
know.
not going to win by going silent against that.
Yeah, I just think that's the side of the party that you don't want to even run on. Basically,
Yeah.
just let them have Trump forever. Let them have Trump forever and ever. Everybody else, the Senate, yeah, all y'all sit down. Don't even worry about it. Let Trump let Trump run everything. Let him run for Senate. Let him run for House. Let him run for president. Let him do it all. I don't give a damn. Good, good.
Well, but what if you do not favor Trump's policies? You want to let him keep running?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
And
I
that's
don't
and
want
that's
that,
the
man.
problem. Is that I mean, you got to think, you got to
It's
understand.
not him. It's the policies. I could care less about Trump. I could
Right.
care less if whoever it is. If you got those type of policies and ideas, then you fucked up, and that's just the way I see it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you
Like
know,
it's certain things.
I'm gonna tell you, coming from the liberal side, I don't really think Trump's policies were his detriment. I think it was the name calling because when you look at the economy and you look at inflation and the cost of goods and services under Trump, it was not that bad. It was
But
the
if
chaos and
he
the name calling and the insults.
if he would have won, this was going to happen. And that's what nobody's talking about. They not talking about the fact that, hey, well, if Trump was in office, the gas prices was going to go up. If Trump was in office, inflation was still going to happen. These things were going to happen because it happened all over the world. It's the
Yeah,
whole
but what
world, the whole
about
planet.
what
We're
about
we're
to
just
what
late to
about
the
to
party.
what about to a certain degree? Is it possible that it was going to happen to
No,
this
well,
exact same
no.
degree under Trump and
The,
Biden?
the, the same degree, the same degree. This is all
You
happening.
know,
It was. They told us this was coming. When we looked at when it happened, I keep saying I said this before. When it happened with Greece, they said brace for it. It's heading this way. They told us.
here's where I gotta respectfully disagree, even coming from the liberal side of the aisle. One thing that Trump was good at is he's a deal maker. I mean, that's what he did in the business world. Like Obama just came from Saudi Arabia. What was it? This a
Biden.
couple of days
Biden came from
ago.
something.
Yeah,
You
Biden.
know, oh,
Biden, not Obama, my fault. Biden just came. Remember they're talking about the fist bump and all of that. He just
yeah,
got back from Saudi Arabia trying to get them to produce oil a couple of days
right.
ago.
Yes,
Trump would have done that shit a year ago. That's the
you think
difference.
so?
Trump would have been over there trying to do that about a year ago.
And you think a year ago that he would have negated this? I mean,
I
that's your
think
belief.
I
I don't see it. I really don't
okay.
see it. It could have maybe because he did sell him some helicopters, so maybe okay. So let's talk about. So we want to talk about Saudi Arabia, and you selling them helicopters. These people have their hand in every single thing, and you go to it's like let's say they're mad at the golfers, right? Have
Right.
you seen that?
Yeah.
Because they said Saudi Arabia, and they're like,
Right.
"Oh man, how could you? Oh my God!" What the hell? They just going to get the money, man. That's all they doing. But if you
Well,
want
here's
to
the
be,
problem. Here's the problem. Trump. Biden made a big outcry about the assassination of what was the
yes,
news reporter? The guy they
yes,
chopped him into pieces and shit.
in the
Like
body. So over,
Khashoggi or
yes,
whatever his name is. You know what I'm
yes,
talking about.
yes,
Well, Trump wouldn't give a shit about that. Trump is just over there to get gas price. So Biden has to be more cautious with the Saudi Arabians because he's looking at them as human rights abusers. Trump
Yes.
doesn't give a shit about that.
Shit
Remember,
about none of that. Yes.
Trump is making friends with Kim Jong-un, Putin, and all of them. So that's why I believe, I'm not saying America would be better off or something like that, but I do believe under President Trump, the price at the pump, because Kasagi, I think is his name, if I can pronounce it right, but under President Trump, I do believe the price at the pump and inflation would have went down quicker because he doesn't have to do the things that the liberals or the progressive party wants him to do.
And that,
He can do business with anybody because
I'm gonna say this, that because let's say if Trump was in office, Russia wouldn't have had those sanctions. You know, they wouldn't have had the sanctions. When they invaded Ukraine, they would have never had those sanctions. Ukraine wouldn't have got any type of back from us. No weapons would have been getting sent in. None of that would have happened. They would have been
but they were he was talking to deal with the Ukraine. So it's pretty.
He knew this was going to happen.
I know from talking to MAGA supporters, there's no love for the Ukraine. So under the Trump administration, they would not be receiving any assistance.
Yeah. So maybe Russia pipeline thing, they start sending more oil. Maybe. Okay. You know what I mean? You might get that part, but that's not. I can't say that, that's because of it. It would be because of him, but it's just a nasty deal. It's like, you got blood. In other words, you got blood.
I agree with you 100%. It's a nasty deal. I'm just simply saying at the end of the day, we don't often like how the sausage gets made, but you would have more sausage under Trump. I believe because he wouldn't give a shit how you felt about him dealing with the Russians or dealing with, isolating the Ukrainians or anything. He would just be focused on reducing the price at the pump.
No, that's it. Yeah, and it was going to go high, but he would have maybe that's if that you can even transport that shit over here at the time. Like I don't know. I know they're all in it together. I know they're all in it together. I just don't know how it works though. Like how do they?
I'll give you another. Well, I'll give you another example. You can accomplish some things through fear and through threats, and Trump was more likely to do that. Like for instance, when Biden went over to Saudi Arabia, he was politely asking them and OPEC nations to produce more oil. Trump would actually ask them to produce more oil, but there would be some dire consequences if they don't. If you don't produce more oil, we're gonna give weapons to Yemen or to your enemy. It would be something attached to
that. I don't see nothing wrong with that because hell, they holding us hostage. Hell, I think there are some points. Now, see, there are some things that Trump did that I like, and that's why I said if he'd have just kept his mouth shut and quit trying to be so political about things and showing this other side of him that we didn't even know existed, if he could have did that, he would have been president. He would have been president, but he showed his racist side, and this was like, regardless, we're not going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm as much as I said I don't like Joe Biden, as much as I really can say that, I know better than to let that a racist, like you can, like anybody on here can try to defend that bullshit, but he's sending signals to the racist people that it's okay to be racist. That's what he's doing. And that's not a society nobody's trying to live in.
I will say this, to interrupt you real quick. I'm going to give you the last word. I do got to move it on, but I'll give you the last word. But I will say this. You often get, particularly MAGA, that will ask minorities, well, what did he say racist? And like you said, he's giving signals. I will tell you this. There is no shortage of folks claiming to either currently be white supremacists or formerly white supremacists that also state Trump has given them signals. So It's not just coming from minorities. There's a lot of folks who claim to be from that side of the aisle that also are suggesting we can hear those dog whistles.
Yes. And if you're a person, if you done lived, you're a person that's done lived, you don't need for them to confirm nothing. Like myself, I hear the shit he's saying. Now, if you living in the suburbs and you ain't really dealt with this type stuff, you might not know. It might just fly right over your head. But me myself, I hear the shit he says.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, it's just sending them type of signals like, oh, it's all right. You know, racist ass police, it's okay. Racist ass people, it's okay. You know, and it's not. It's not okay. You know, you promote you promote the real traitors, the Confederate and all that history of bullshit of slavery and slavery and the war wasn't about slavery. All that bullshit is what you promote.
Well,
And
like I said,
so,
you're not the only one. But look, I got to
yeah,
move it on, man. You know what I do. Appreciate you coming through.
yep.
All right, you take care. Okay, the box.
And I want to. Somebody said Trump was with a black girl. Let me say this for all the, Bobby Brock, you're talking about Trump was with a black girl. I hear the HBCU, the fact that Trump worked with Lil Wayne and some rappers and even got an African American woman out of jail. I hear this all the time, and all of that is true. However, that doesn't stop you guys from referring to Jesse Jackson as a racist. He has a lot of white friends, or Al Sharpton. He has a lot of white business partners. You guys refer to President Biden as a racist, and look at all of the things he's done for African Americans. So I just want to point that out to be fair on both sides. Going to out of the
Tricks. Looking in the comments here, meant to say Trump race. Okay, for Biden love, let's spread his love. Wow. Out of the matrix. Talk to me. Good evening.
Hey, I originally joined when you were talking about DeSantis and Trump, and I can tell you this, and this is just someone who's engaged in politics on a pretty deep level. There's not going to be a single person that throws their hat into the race until Trump makes a decision. They're
I
not going
believe
to
that.
they're not
I
going to
believe
risk
that.
splintering the party because I'm a Trump supporter, but I know for a fact he will trash and destroy voter turnout for anyone that throws their hat in a race against him, especially
Yeah.
if they win the nomination. So
I
I
believe
didn't.
that. And you took it to a different level. You make an even better point. And that is if they go against Trump, even if they win the nomination, Trump is not going to come together and support the party. He's going to continue trashing that person. Excellent point.
Yep, he definitely will, man. That's just how he gets down. Like it or not, that's just who he is. So, yeah, I just can't see that happening. Now, I think that there is, and for people that are hoping that DeSantis will throw his allegiance to Trump as a VP, I don't think that'll happen either. As much as people wish it'll happen, he's not going to do that because he does have ambitions to be in the White House one day, and he's not going to be bogged down with the division that Trump has caused with people from the left side of the aisle. He wants to be able to bring independents in when he runs for the White House, and he wants to be able to win some moderate Democrats. He's not going to be able to do that if he ties himself to Trump in 2024.
But and I have to ask this, that's really good analysis, and I agree with almost all of it. But I have to ask the question: if you're painting that type of picture in regards to President Trump, literally saying he's essentially toxic, and you're also suggesting that even if DeSantis were to defeat him, he would not do what a politician that supports the Republican Party is supposed to do, which is you're supposed to support your nominee. So my question is, if he is that much in favor of himself and toxic, why support him again?
It's his policies that I care about and what he was able to accomplish on behalf of the American people. So, I'm very much, I'd say I'm probably more engaged in America's foreign policy and the ramifications that has back at home than I am about America's domestic policy. Because as a president, you're really relying on Congress to get legislation passed. You can't rule the country by executive order. But when you're coming to talking about foreign policy, with exception to declaring war, the executive branch has a lot of mobility and a lot of flexibility to be able to dictate Americans' policy that ultimately impacts us either positively or negatively back home. And he had the best foreign policy in my lifetime and probably the last 100 years in the United States by far.
Yeah, but he's tearing your party apart. I mean, make no mistake about it. No matter how great Trump's policies are, he only has 4 more years, and Biden has already proven to you, just like Trump has proven to Obama supporters, the next guy can tear your accomplishments to shreds. So you're willing to sacrifice your entire party because that's what's happening is that you got Liz Cheney's and Mitt Romney's and Adam Kessinger's. These are all Republicans fighting against. He's tearing the party up, and you're willing to sacrifice all of that for 4 more years?
Yeah, so I guess, when you say tearing the party up, I look at some of these legacy politicians who come from a long lineage of politicians, and most of which, Liz Cheney being a prime example, that rode into Washington on their parents' coattails, their relatives' coattails, and they don't do anything on behalf of Americans. None of them, not on either side of the political aisle. Honestly,
Well, wait, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you and say this. If you believe Trump was making America great again, and Liz Cheney voted with Trump on 95% of his policies, shouldn't she get credit for that?
absolutely, absolutely. She did what was politically expedient for her. She did what exactly was, when the tides were going in his favor, she did exactly what was ultimately going to be politically expedient for her. But the moment the tides changed,
Name me a Republican politician other than Trump. I guess you'd say, but name me a Republican politician that does not do what's politically expedient.
Jim Jordan is somebody that I respect a lot from Ohio. I think that he is pretty consistent in his viewpoints. I don't see him waver. I don't see him contradict himself very often. I really like him a lot. Then we've got some crazies, you know what I'm saying, that don't do things that are politically expedient and they believe what they say.
I gotta ask you this because it's in the comments. Tommy Tron said Ted Cruz and Rand Paul. What about Ted Cruz? You think Ted Cruz does not do things that's politically expedient for himself?
No, not at all. Ted Cruz is a puppet. Like, this guy will say whatever look how Trump disrespected his wife and how quickly he kissed her.
Exactly.
You couldn't talk about my wife like that and then me kiss the ring, man. It's just not happening. So I disagree with that.
I thought that was hilarious. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene. What about Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene? I see that in the comments.
Yeah, I think that she's definitely a nationalist. There's no doubt about it. She's all about the America First agenda, but she's got some takes that are questionable. There's no doubt about it, that are pretty fringe and out there and ultimately going to divide the country. I think her intentions are in the right place. In some ways.
What if you were, I don't want to say the J word because I don't want to get in trouble, but what if you were descendants of Israelis and you heard about space lasers? How might you feel about Marjorie Taylor Greene and her space lasers comment?
Again, man, like I said, she's got some pretty crazy takes.
And this is where I'm trying to get back on it. It seems to me like you guys are willing to bet the house just for 4 more years. There's going to be life after Trump, and you're going to have rubble laying all over the place. If the party cannot work together, you're going to because the Republicans will live on, although Trump only has 4 years left. What is the Republican Party going to be like after he's gone? Because if he's still around and still healthy, you and I both realize he's going to be criticizing and promoting candidates after him. So the division is going to continue.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I think that if he could finish off a 4-year term, so here's the thing, right? That I'm taking into account. Now, I would love to see DeSantis run unopposed. I think he'd get the nomination. I've liked his policies that he's enacted in Florida. He's got the highest surplus in the state's history this year, with $22.1 billion. I think he's done a fantastic job down there and shows that conservative policies do work without the brashness that came with Trump's personality. I think that he was lockstep with a lot of Trump's foreign policy decisions. He's on the record of saying so. So I would love to see him run unopposed. But I got to answer your question, taking into account, like you just said, that Trump is highly likely, if he's healthy, to run. That being said, if we could end that 4-year term in a, right sizing the economy, right sizing the foreign policy America has taken in this first 2 years under Biden's administration. If we can do all that, I think it would be easy for him to hand the keys off to DeSantis in 2028.
Let me ask you this question. Let's say Trump decided he wasn't going to run, which none of us think that's going to happen. But let's say Trump decided he wasn't going to run, or Liz Cheney got the best of him with what's going on. If DeSantis got elected in 2024, do you not believe he could right the wrongs of the Biden administration?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he could.
So why not just go for him? You admitted he doesn't have the chaos. You admit he can do exactly what Trump did. Plus, he has a potential of 8 years, and he doesn't divide the party. Why would you go for Trump when
There's not enough people like
DeSantis has
me.
all these positives?
There's not enough people like me on this side of the aisle, brother. I'm only one
Why
man. So
is that? Yeah, that's true. And why is that?
I think a lot of people are, you're not looking at the big picture. They're playing checkers instead of chess. And as a result, the party is fractured if something like that were to happen where Trump was primaried. And
Right.
ultimately,
And the party is fractured because of who?
there's no doubt about it that the party's fractured because of Trump. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. This
Yeah,
is
I
why.
don't get
This is
it.
why.
You're not the only one, and I see folks in the comments even said, you're not the only one that believes DeSantis is the better candidate. Yet everyone, the vast majority of Republicans, I suppose we can still say, are going for Trump, even though they openly admit DeSantis is probably the better option. I don't understand it. And DeSantis has the potential of getting 8 years instead of 4 and bringing the entire party together. Because make no mistake about it, all the folks that MAGA calls rhinos, never Trumpers, treasonous, all of them would come back home to the party and it would reconnect like a Lego set if DeSantis ran. Under Trump, you got all of this fracturing. I don't get why they would still continue to choose Trump when they know DeSantis can get the job done.
Well, it's because Trump, I mean, look at it. He had the most votes in 2020 of any incumbent president in American history with
Right.
75 plus million, right? So he brought
Right.
people into the party who weren't necessarily Republicans, Democrats, or even all that involved in politics to begin with, right? So he has a large swath of voters that do not give a shit about party. They care about
But not
America.
enough. But not enough to win.
No, not enough to win, but enough to take away from anyone that would primary him, that would stick
Yeah,
to him.
but here's what the right thing. Here's what the right. I guess being a liberal, nobody's going to give a shit of what I'm saying here. But here's what I think Trump should do, and which would be the morally right thing to do if he truly wanted to make America great, and that is realize that he has a lot of drawbacks that DeSantis doesn't. He would get on TV, state that he's not running, but he's going to be behind DeSantis 100%. That would elevate DeSantis to something insane. That's what he would do if he truly cared about the party and the country, as opposed to trying to force another term himself.
I don't think he cares about the party, though, in regards to traditional values of, party lines. I don't think that he's that kind of guy. Like, I think Trump would deal with a Democrat just as quickly as he'd deal with a Republican if it ultimately meant moving his agenda forward. So he's not afraid. And that's one thing that people admire about him, right? So, like, when he was when he was actively the president of the United States, he was calling out the majority leader on a regular basis. You never saw that done in American politics in such a public display, where he was willing to call out the wrong decisions on both sides of the political aisle. And I'm surprised more people didn't take notice and appreciate that, because most times people are pretty smart.
Fair point. I think most of us are in favor of a politician that's willing to reach across the aisle to try to get some shit done. We're okay with that. The problem is if you don't reach across if Trump reaches across the aisle and tries to work with you and you don't agree with him, he calls you a motherfucker. That's the problem.
Right.
He is close.
Right.
If he was just trying to reach across the aisle, we'd all love him.
Dude, I agree. You're never going to get me disagreeing with you on something like that. I mean, what was most frustrating for someone like me to watch. So, like, I know you'll remember, because it's clear that you've been engaged for years now based on your knowledge and the fact that you are willing to give credit where credit's due. So I know you were paying attention throughout, history. So, when Trump came into office, people may not remember this, some of the younger generation of voters here, but like when Bashar al-Assad gassed men, women, and children in Syria, right? And Barack Obama destination, and we sent the United Nations in under gunfire to determine whether or not the Geneva Convention had been violated. And we found out that it did, and nothing happened. And then one of the most craziest, most like proud power moves I ever seen an American president do, because the timing was
the 60 tomahawks. The 60 tomahawks you're talking about.
but it was that, but it was also what was also taking place in real time while that strike was taking place. Xi Jinping was at Mar-a-Lago that night having dinner, and I'll never forget when the news broke that Trump carried out the order to shoot those Tomahawk missiles at the Air Force base responsible for the chemical attacks. The news footage showed the live reaction when Trump reached across the table to the interpreter and told him what he had just done. The interpreter, in turn, turned to Xi Jinping, told him, and the look on his face was fucking. I mean, it was amazing.
It was gold. It was gold. I get that, and that's why there's a lot of love for Trump. But I will say this: no different than seeing Trump go to the 38th parallel and reach across to shake Kim Jong Un's hand. Once again, it also looks like America's moving forward. But at the end of the day, we can look back and say we didn't gain a lot out of either one of those. Even though Trump sent those Tomahawks into Syria, Russia is still over there, and Assad is still destroying his own people just like he was. So I appreciate what Trump did, but at the end of the day, it was a symbolic gesture, and we Americans really gained nothing out of it. I got to move it on. I give you the last word, though, man.
No, nothing. I don't have nothing, brother. That's all I wanted to come in and talk about, and I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate you being impartial. So,
absolutely appreciate you. Always welcome back. You know how we do.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Good night.
Looking in the comments before we go on, can never get a popular vote. You know, Be the GOAT, I really believe that because Reagan got I think Reagan got 49 states. So Ronald Reagan did pretty damn well. I really believe that if Trump did not have the brashness that me and the previous caller were talking about, I think he could have potentially got the popular vote. Because keep in mind, a lot of us, you guys here in the audience, are pointing out that he was well liked even by minorities. It just, I don't know what made that guy say some of the shit he was saying, other than he got lost in the rallies, lost in the sauce. He went to the rallies and the energy was great. And those folks are enjoying him criticizing everybody and talking about senators. And I mean, listen, nobody becomes a senator or a 4-star general to let the president talk shit about them. They're not going to, listen, even though he's the president and he's their boss, you don't rise to that ranking to let somebody just embarrass you in public like that. So for you guys who suggest, well, he was making the country great and they should have just went along with it because, you know, the country was doing well, that's not how it works. Trump has an ego, but so do they. So do you think John McCain, after being a senator for most of his adult life or a large portion of it, you don't think he had an ego too? You think he's okay with just letting the guy tell him, you know, my war heroes don't get captured? You just expect him to ignore what Trump was saying about him? Now, somehow Ted Cruz did, and I don't understand that. I'd love to hear how Ted Cruz's wife feels, but yeah, a lot of these folks did not rise to power to let some dude come on that has no political experience just insult the shit out of them like that. All right, moving on in the box. Modern colonizers. Let's make it happen.
Hunter Biden versus President Trump, by the way. Both of these men are viewed as corrupt as hell by the opposing party. So they have some similarities despite the fact that Hunter Biden never held political office. Modern colonizer, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good. By the way, folks, tap your screens. Get your boy to 5,000 likes. Got a couple hundred of us in here. We can make that happen. What's on your mind, Modern colonizer?
Really just some of the callers you've had on and some of the stuff in the comments has just made me think, you know, the second caller ago, he was about to admit things would have been better under Trump, and then he paused.
That was bad. You know, I was thinking he before he went into the racism statement. I'm hearing him, and I was about to go Jeff Foxworthy, and I was going to do the joke. Well, if you believe that, here's your sign. But he threw the racism in there, so I had to let it go. But I did hear that though. But go ahead.
And whether it's on the Democrat Party or the Republican Party, both sides are very guilty of having some simple-minded, I'll drink the punch from Tucker Carlson or from whoever, you know, the CNN folks are. I don't watch them, so I don't know their names. Oh, my God, they said that. That's the way it is, right? It's entertainment.
Right.
It's no different than WWF. It is entertainment. And, you know, they take shit out of context so bad. I do not think Trump is of the strongest moral character. But when he said Mexico isn't sending us their greatest, they're sending us rapists, drug dealers, this, that, and the other, he was not saying, and we all know this, anybody with a thinking brain knows that he was not saying that's all they have in all of Mexico. He's saying when an immigrant comes from pretty much any other country, what are we getting? We're getting somebody who wants to go to school and better their life and this, that, and the other. And a significant portion.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
let me finish.
here's a problem with that. And I get your point, but here's a problem with that. Anybody is if that's politics taking somebody out of context. Just like when Trump said Mexico's going to pay for the wall. We all knew he was not talking about Mexico writing the check. He was talking about undoing the trade imbalance and using the extra money we would make to pay for the wall. However, when the liberals talked about defunding the police, we all knew they were not talking about complete anarchy in America. So both sides are going to capitalize on a statement if you don't say it right. But there's no denying that the Liberal Party, particularly President Biden and President Trump, was not suggesting that we need to get rid of every single cop in America. But that's what they're accusing them of, just like they were accusing Trump of things that he didn't say right. So some of that's just politics.
I know it's just politics, but the thing is, those people are constitutionally allowed to go into the voting booth, and they're simple-minded, both sides. I'm not trying to say that we
Okay.
great ambassadors on the conservative aisle either. What just really gets me is just that people are so allied to their party and do not place America first. And we all know damn well, they're not going to have this conversation while they're having, coffee with a group of people. But when they're sitting on their recliner thinking about it, oh, the gas prices aren't the president's problem. Look at the rest of the world. And it's like, yeah, when the largest consumer in the world doesn't have their shit together, it flows outwards. If pretty much everybody in America stopped doing cocaine, do you think cocaine would be the same price in South Africa or France?
Right.
Okay, yeah. The largest consumer, we dictate things around the world, and basically it's if Saudi Arabia has a ship full of oil to send, they're going to send it to America before they send it to a country that has their shit together, because that's where the money's at, and so is he the guy with the stick and the plastic numbers at the gas station changing the prices? No, but his failure, his very first day in office, he shut down Keystone Pipeline. And I'm not one of these bigots that goes, oh my God. I understand that it does not carry,
thanks for the hat.
It does not carry regular crude oil for fuel, but you are symbolizing to every oil company out there, better get your money now, because you've got at least 4 years.
And I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. 100%. And real quick in the comments, Bionic Man Keith said, no, the left did mean get rid of the cops. If the left meant get rid of the cops, then why didn't they get rid of the cops in California or New York or Chicago? There are plenty of cities where the left has nothing but control. If they really wanted to get rid of the cops, a liberal state with a liberal governor and a liberal mayor, they would have done it, and it did not happen. So I think that is bullshit. But yeah, I totally am in the camp that President Biden had some influence on gas prices. And here's another reason why I also blame President Biden for gas prices, because the moment they started coming down like they are now, he started taking credit for it. He's on television he was holding a speech, I think the week before last, taking credit for the fact that gas prices are falling down. So the first response is, well, what happened to you not having anything to do with gas prices? Now that they're coming down, you're taking credit for it? So, yeah, I do. While he may not be completely responsible, like you pointed out, supply and demand, yeah, there's no way I'm going to believe that the president of the United States has nothing to do with the price of fuel when, like you pointed out, we're the ones buying all of this shit.
Yeah, and just the idea that
don't know what happened there. One of the caller just don't know what happened there. One of the caller just dropped out. Hopefully nothing crazy was said. Anyway, let me move it on. Modern Colonizer, I don't know what happened, but you dropped out in the middle of your conversation. Y'all do know Trump lost twice. He never won the popular vote. Jazz O'Lee, that's not how the country works, though. It works by electoral college. Now, keep in mind, with this gerrymandering shit, us liberals are certainly scared of this because we know that with a 6-3 Supreme Court majority, I don't know what they're planning to do with the voter laws. I understand you should absolutely need an ID to vote, but they're going well above just simply requiring an ID to vote. And at the end of the day, with a 6-3 Supreme Court majority on the right, if any of this shit makes it to the Supreme Court, it's not going to go in our favor. So I'm going to leave that at that. But I do believe that something is coming down the pike in regards to our ability to vote that will not be favorable for liberals. Some cases, maybe not even minorities, but I do believe that. And you guys can tell me where you think I'm wrong, et cetera, but I do believe that. Why not have a free ID to vote? That came from maybe I was wrong. I agree with you 100%. I do believe that if you want to have a free and fair election, you could do a hell of a lot to remove hurdles. But I do believe a lot of politicians want those hurdles. Like, for instance, the 8-hour lines that people are waiting in the state of Georgia, and they're talking about you can't give a person a bottle of water and things like that. Why not find out why it takes a person 8 hours to vote in your area and fix that? You got more folks supporting making it so that you can't give the person a bottle of water, but doing nothing to answer why does it take people 8 hours to vote here? Or areas where you're removing polling places or mailboxes and things. Yeah, securing the integrity of the election should be what you're trying to do. But it shouldn't be done to the point where it's taking people hours and hours and hours to cast a ballot. Because you can get to the point if you're providing so much security that is de-incentivizing people to vote at all, that's not a free and fair election. You're just literally taking one hurdle out of the way and putting one in place that you're more likely to favor. 8 hours? Really? Or you got some areas like Houston, Cleveland, where you got a whole county with millions of people and they're filtering them all into one location to vote. There is absolutely no excuse for that other than we want to make this difficult. You're going to tell me the governor of that state could not create a second or third or fourth polling place? You want this to be difficult. I'm 100% behind requiring a voter to have an ID. 100% understand that. As an adult, I don't believe anybody over the age of 18 can present a decent excuse for why they can't obtain an ID. And if you find one or two, that's not anywhere near the majority. If you're over 18, you should be able to get a damn ID. But one polling place in all of Cleveland or all of Houston, that type of shit is going well above and beyond just securing the integrity of the election. That starts to look like you're on something. Going to the box, or better yet, the comments here. Why not? Let me see. You should have an ID. And I agree with the ID part. No guest request button. What does that mean? You should have there. Your request button is gone. Wow. What the hell happened there? I see it down in my thing here. Okay, that's not right. And I'm trying to find out. I don't know. That's kind of scary. I don't know if I might stop the live and find out if TikTok didn't do something to me. I don't know how that happened. And by the way, I didn't turn it off. So let me see here. It does say I can invite people. I'm just going to send 52 cents. We talk regularly. Let me see here. Yeah, it's telling me. I think they don't fuck with me. Request params error or something. I think they don't took my ability away to talk to the people. Request params error. Yep, they don't done something. Now you say no, it was just a glitch. X something like that. Must have an ID already. Apparently, let me try somebody else here. Yeah, they're giving me some sort of request params error, so I can't even invite people to vote. Not to vote. Invite people to come on live. So I have to restart the live. Let me try to do that because I'm wondering if they didn't ban me. It happened on another live. Something you have to do. Okay. I'm going to just briefly stop this and restart it because I'm curious to find out if anything else is wrong. I'll be right back.